My mother, seen here, was 16 years old when I was born. My dad was 21. They'd been together since she was 14. So he was 14, or sorry, she was 14. He was 19 when they got together. You guys have heard me talk about my dad before. He was very racist. My mother will tell you the same. And my mother, being very young and uneducated, she just kind of went along with whatever my dad did. And he was also abusive. My mother was abused. And I talked to her before I made this video to make sure that she's okay with me telling that part of her story. My dad was a domestic abuser and also a child abuser. He abused me as well. That's not the point of this video, though. When I was 3 years old, my mother was 19. She found the courage to leave my dad, which wasn't easy to do. And the divorce was nasty because my dad he's passed away now, a pretty controlling, narcissistic type guy. And shortly after leaving my dad, my mother was in a relationship with another man who was a black man. And my dad being the racist. See, I was raised in the 80s in North Carolina, and my dad was a racist. So her leaving him for a black man was like this big taboo thing. Like, you don't do that. And so when everything went to court, my dad ultimately got custody of me because the judge in the 80s in North Carolina is not giving the child to the woman dating a black man, to the white woman dating a black man, especially when my dad was the one with the career and the income and the money, and my mom had nothing. He had left her with nothing. Fast forward to when I was 10 years old. During those 7 years after the divorce, my dad taught me to hate my mom. He taught me that she was a sinner, that the Bible did not approve of interracial marriages. He showed me in the Bible where the Bible says you can't marry outside your race. And I believed her to be basically of the devil himself. I hated her. When I was 10 years old, I found out that my dad was being taken to court because my mother was trying to get visitation rights. I was terrified. I didn't want to meet this evil woman. She won. She got visitation rights of me. I'll never forget ever to this day. I can still vividly remember where I was, the weather and everything when she picked me up the first time. I was terrified. But I made it my mission, that first visit, that she would never visit me again. I made that my mission, that she would never want to see me after this day. I called her a sinner. I called her children, because she had 3 children with her second husband. Obviously, they were biracial children. And I called her children the N-word. I called her an N-word lover. Now, keep in mind, I'm 10 years old. But this is how I was raised. This is what I believed at age 10. And she told me, you shouldn't think like this or talk like this, and I ignored her. It was like a 2-hour visitation, whatever it was, and then she dropped me back off at my house. And I told my dad, she'll never pick me up again, Dad, I promise you. 2 weeks later, when it was time for her next visitation, I waited in my yard on the Saturday at the time that I was supposed to be there. And I was sure she wouldn't pull up, but she did. She did pull up. I was befuddled. Oh my God, she came back. This time, she took me to her house. In a mostly black neighborhood, and a place I had never been. I was raised on the mountain, all white neighborhood, very much racist. And I was told that black neighborhoods were crime-ridden, filthy areas. Avoid them. So I went to this black neighborhood and I thought, oh my God. I went in her house and she said, I want you to meet your brothers and sisters. And they came out and they were so excited to see me because my mom had never told them a bad thing about me. And I wanted to be mean to them because that's how I was raised. But I couldn't. I couldn't bring myself to be mean to them because they were so nice and polite to me. I was not nice to them. I tolerated them in my mind, but I wasn't mean to them. And then every 2 weeks she came and got me. And over the course of time, I built a relationship with my siblings, with her. And I started questioning things like maybe the things my dad told me are not true, because what I see in this neighborhood, what I see in my mom's house, what I see everywhere is not what I was told. And I had a choice to make at the early age of about 11. Do I believe what I was raised, or do I challenge these ideas? And just like my mom had got away from my dad and challenged those ideas and grew and was better, I decided that I too can be better. I started challenging the ideas my dad raised me. It started a very tumultuous relationship with my dad, as if it wasn't tumultuous to begin with. Again, I was an abused child. I'm trying to keep this video short, so I'm missing a lot of very deep details, but I'm trying to give you the idea. By the time I was 15, I had read books and read the speeches of Dr. King and watched interviews with Malcolm X, and I really started realizing, like, there's a whole nother world out there that I didn't realize. Fred Hampton, Angela Davis, these things really opened my eyes. And I even basically got into a fight with my dad over it when I was 15 and was thrown out of my house. But my deconstruction process had begun, and it has continued for the past, 27 years. I'm 42 now. And it's all thanks to my mom, just being a mom, just showing up. And I've never had, like, the closest relationship with my mom because the story I just told you. But I've been friends with her now for, how old is that? 25 years. And I just want to say thanks for showing up. Thanks for not giving up on me. I may have never challenged my ideas and beliefs and may have been stuck in the same trap that, I was born into, and I wasn't. So, thanks, Mom.
Let me start this video with a quote. My father taught me to hate black people while selling drugs and living on welfare. That's what a white man just said out loud, what black America has been screaming for 400 years. He exposed the blueprint, how they built white supremacy in a crib, wrapped it in the Bible, and fed it to children with breakfast cereal. How they teach you that with the criminals while dad is dealing meth in the living room. How they convince you we are the welfare queens while mamas at the mailbox cashing government checks. This is not just about racism, family. This is about the psychological warfare that creates two completely different Americas. But here's why this moment is dangerous to the system. When whiteness tells the truth about whiteness, it cannot be dismissed. Alright? It can't be ignored. The walls start cracking. And today we're going to walk through those cracks and expose what they have been hiding. Guys, this is the Tariq critique, and here I do the real criticism. Let us watch these clips and then I'll be back, guys.
Growing up in the mountains of North Carolina, I was taught racism. From as young as I can remember, I was told black people are violent. Black people are lazy. Black people are not as smart as white people. I remember my dad told me that black people are too lazy to work, and so they depend on welfare to live, and they sell drugs. 10 minutes after my dad said that to me, a man knocked on the door. I let him in. He handed my dad some money. My dad weighed out some marijuana and a few pills and handed it to that gentleman. And then we went to the store to buy some groceries. We didn't buy groceries with the money that man just handed my father. It was little yellow, blue, and green food coupons. So my dad is trying to teach me that black people are drug dealers on welfare while my dad was selling drugs out the living room, living on welfare. You see, he would tell me, son, I work very hard. I don't make enough money to provide for you kids, so that's why I sell these drugs. I just love you so much. And these food stamps, well, I pay my taxes, so I earn them. You see, the indoctrination begins at a very young age. We are taught without even knowing it, there are two Americas. Despite marijuana use with the black community and the white community at the same rate, the black community is arrested and convicted at a rate 3 times higher than white America. There are black Americans in prison right now serving 30 and 40-year sentences for marijuana, while corporations are becoming multi-billion-dollar businesses selling marijuana. There are two Americas. If a man broke in my house right now, and I shot that man in the back, albeit in my own house, I could not claim self-defense because I shot him in the back. But a police officer can shoot Jacob Blake in the back 7 times and still be at work. If that's okay with you, we are on different moral platforms. We are on different ethical existences if that's okay with you. There's two Americas. The America I grew up in says if you comply, everything will be okay. Well, for white America, that's true. But black America faces a very different reality. The use of force and the threat of the use of force is actually 4 times higher for police-initiated interactions. The America I grew up in will say, if you stop talking about racism, it'll go away. Well, for white America, that's true. Because as a white American, I don't have to think about my race. I'm not judged by my skin color as soon as a potential employer meets me. As soon as a loan officer meets me. As someone that's coming to appraise my home for sale, don't judge me by my skin color. As a white American, I can completely forget about my race and even racism, so long as nobody talks about it. So then in my world, it won't exist. Well, I've decided enough of that. I'm here to call white America to task. I'm here to tell white America it's time to stand the hell up. Beside our fellow human beings, beside our fellow citizens, and it's time for white America to be part of the solution. I was raised by racists. I was taught how to be racist. So you can quit telling me that racism doesn't exist. You're a damn liar. I was raised in the belly of the beast. I was raised by racists, and now they hate me. I call that a glow up. I'm not here to speak for black America, over black America, at black America. I'm here to speak to and at white America, and I'm screaming, wake the hell up. White supremacy is woven into the very fabric of this country. White supremacy bleeds from every pore of this country. In schools, we have standardized testing, but we don't have standardized resources. We don't have standardized opportunities. In hospitals, a black woman is more likely to die during childbirth at a rate 3 times higher than that of a white woman. In neighborhoods, power plants and dumps are more likely to be put up by a predominantly black neighborhood than a predominantly white neighborhood. At home, 22% of black America lives in poverty, whereas only 9% of white America lives in poverty. White America loves black music, black trends, black culture, but kills black people at a rate 2.87 times higher than that of white people by the police. All of these things will not change unless we tear down, I'm going to say that again, unless we tear down the system of white supremacy that has built them into existence. We cannot fix the current system, for it is not broken. This system is working exactly as it was intended. Passing laws will not change it. You cannot legislate morality. Black America has screamed tirelessly for decades about these injustices, while white America has turned a blind eye and a deaf ear. Well, I'm here to say no more. Change is coming. Revolution is coming. It's time to open your eyes, white America. White people make up nearly 60% of the American population, and the overwhelming majority of them refuse to even admit that racism exists. They think that there's a conspiracy against them by the government with zero evidence, but ignore the obvious systemic racism and oppression against black America that's well documented. Well, I've made it my life's mission to call white America to task. Mr. Blake, Miss Austin, the families of victims of police brutality in this country, to all of those of you who wake up every day and deal with the system of white supremacy built to marginalize you, I say to you this one thing: I will stand with you. I will march with you. I will protest with you. I will fight with you. I will use my privilege and my platform to demand that white America stop ignoring this humanitarian crisis happening right here in America. So, white America, this is your choice. Either be part of the solution, or by God, you are the problem. No justice.
You know what's wild? A white man just did something that could get him excommunicated from white America. He told the truth. Not the I have a black friend truth. Not the I don't see color truth. The real truth. The kind of truth that makes white folks at Thanksgiving dinner uncomfortable. The kind that makes you question everything you were taught about this country. This man stood up and said, my father taught me to hate black people while he was selling drugs out the living room and living on welfare. Pause. Let that marinate first. See, this is what black folks have been trying to tell you all since forever. The system is not broken. It's working exactly. It was designed to. But when we say it is a play, it's playing the race card. When we say it, we are too sensitive. When we say it, we are told to get over slavery and stop bringing up the past. But when a white person, especially one raised in the belly of white supremacy in North Carolina, breaks the code of silence and exposes the game, now we got a problem. Now the illusion starts to crack. This brother spoke about growing up in a house where racism wasn't just practice, it was the curriculum. His father taught him that black people were violent, lazy, unintelligent, that we are all on welfare, all drug dealers, all criminals, while Pops was out there doing the exact same things, but somehow that was different. That was survival. That was hard times. That was justified because he paid taxes and worked hard. You see the game? Let's talk about how white supremacy gets passed down like a family recipe. This man was 10 years old when his father taught him to hate his own mother for dating a black man. 10. Used the Bible to justify it, told him interracial relationships were sin, trained him to call his own biracial siblings the N-word. That's not just racism. That's engineering. That's nation building. That's how you create a citizenry that will defend a system even when it's destroying them. Because here's the trick. The father was on welfare dealing drugs, living off government assistance. All the things he claimed black people did. But in his mind, he deserved it. He earned it. The hypocrisy didn't matter because the mythology was too strong. The belief in white innocence, white exceptionalism, white entitlement was so deeply embedded that facts became irrelevant. This is generational psychological warfare. You teach white children that blackness equals danger, laziness, then like criminality. Then you make sure they never interact with actual black people in meaningful ways. You keep the neighborhood separate. You keep the school separate. You keep the myths alive by limiting contact with truth. And when this man finally met his black siblings, when he finally visited his mother's black neighborhood, reality shattered. The lie. It wasn't dangerous. It wasn't dirty. It wasn't what he was told. That's when he had to make a choice. Cling to the comfortable lie or embrace the uncomfortable truth. Now, let's get into the system itself because this is not just about individual racism. This is about institutional design. Jacob Blake got shot 7 times in the back by police. 7 times. And that cop still has a job. But if a white homeowner shoots an intruder in the back in their own house, that's murder. See the difference? That's not a broken system. That's a system with 2 different sets of rules. Let me give you the numbers. I love mathematics because the numbers, they don't lie. Police kill black people 2.87 times the rate at which white people. Black folks are arrested for marijuana at 3 times the rate of white folks, even though we use it at the same rates. Right now, black brothers and sisters are serving 30 and 40-year sentences for weed, while white corporations are making billions selling the exact same plant. 22% of black America lives in poverty compared to 9% of white America. Black women are 3 times more likely to die during childbirth. Power plants are toxic and toxic waste dumps are more likely to be placed in black neighborhoods. This brother broke it down perfectly. For white America, the system creates comfort. If you comply, everything will be okay. You can forget about your race. You're not judged by your skin color, by employers, loan officers, home appraisers. The system bends towards you. For Black America, there is no comfort. Compliance doesn't guarantee safety. Breonna Taylor was asleep. Philando Castile complied. Tamir Rice was 12 years old playing with a toy gun. The system doesn't bend, it breaks us. Now, here's where it gets personal for me and for all of us in the diaspora watching this video. We all grew up hearing white folks say, racism will go away if you just stop talking about it. That's the luxury of whiteness, believing that silence equals to solution. That if we just pretend the house is not on fire, the flames will disappear. But we can't forget, we can't stop talking about it, because while white America was building generational wealth off slavery, off stolen land, off unpaid black labor, our ancestors were building survival strategies, right? We were creating culture out of trauma. We were making music out of pain. We were forging identity in the furnace of oppression. And now, when we dare to name the system, when we dare to connect the dots between the past and the present, we are told we're divisive. We are told we are playing victim. We are told to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, by the same people whose granddaddies cut off our boots and sold the straps. This is why when a white person tells the truth from inside whiteness, it hits different. Their truth, it's not that their truth is more valid, it's that it can't be deflected with the usual defenses. They can't be told they are biased or angry or making it about race. They are the race that built the system. So when they expose it, the shield drops. But here's what really gets me. Here's what keeps me up at night, guys. Listen, the father who taught his son to hate, he's everywhere. He's in police departments, he's in school boards, he's in corporate boardrooms, he's in Congress. The indoctrination didn't stop with the one family in North Carolina. It is the foundation of American identity, right? And the son who broke free, he's the exception that proves the rule, because to choose truth over comfort, to choose justice over loyalty, to choose humanity over whiteness, that requires a level of moral courage that most people simply don't have. See, admitting that America was built on theft, genocide, and enslavement means admitting that everything you were taught about this country is a lie. It means accepting that your ancestors' wealth came from our ancestors' bondage. It means giving up the illusion of innocence. And whiteness has never been ready to do that. So when a white person stands up and says, I was taught wrong, the system is designed to oppress and I am choosing to fight against it, that's not just brave, that's revolutionary. Because they are risking everything: their community, their family, relationships, their social standing, their psychological comfort. Like, they are risking everything. They are choosing to be uncomfortable so that justice can finally be possible. So what do we do with this moment? What can we say about this? First, we need to recognize it for what it is: a crack in the wall. Not the whole wall coming down, just a crack. But cracks matter. Light gets in through cracks. Truth seeps through cracks. Change begins with cracks. Second, we understand that this is not about waiting for white people to save us as black people. This is about recognizing that the system of white supremacy harms everyone, including white people themselves, and that dismantling it requires coalition. It requires people on the side to open doors that have been locked from inside. Third, we need to keep telling our truth, because for every white person brave enough to speak up, there are thousands of black voices that have been screaming into the void for centuries. This moment doesn't replace our testimony, it validates it. It proves we've been right all along. And finally, we make a choice, just like the man who made a choice to reject his father's teachings. We all have to choose. Are we going to complicit in the system, or are we going to fight for something better? Because here's the ultimate truth, guys. America has two choices. It can continue to live the lie, rewriting history books, suppressing black votes, pretending racism ended with Obama, building walls and writing laws that protect whiteness at all costs, or it can face the truth, make reparations, restructure the system, and finally become the country it always claimed to be. The question is not whether white supremacy exists. The receipts are everywhere. The question is whether America has the moral courage to confront it. And based on the history, I am not holding my breath, but I am holding space. Space for the truth tellers, space for wall breakers, space for everyone who is ready to choose justice over comfort, because the revolution starts with telling the truth. And sometimes the most dangerous truth is the one spoken from inside the empire. That's all for today. Family, drop a comment down below, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and stay woke, because they are counting on us to stay asleep. Peace out.